Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's version of the Bodacity Show. I'm really happy to see you. Welcome to a brand new year. Welcome to a new week and to a new person that I'd love to introduce you to. Today, I'm bringing you Jamie Greenberg, who is a fascinating man that I just met recently. He and his wife they have really sexy brains, and so that's why I brought them to you, was because they think very differently and clearly about how to systemize getting yourself out there uniquely, but also how to get your content out there clearly and uniquely. Welcome, Jamie. I'm really happy you're here. And you're in New York, right? No,
I'm in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Right.
Been an hour out of the city.
All right. So I'm going to read your official bio, and then I'm going to find out all the juicy bits that we really want to know from you. So here's a little bit more about Jamie's story. Is simple. At a young age, he was diagnosed with a devastating allergy to working at jobs that he hated. It was a blessing in disguise because it inspired him to completely own and leverage his style of creativity and his burning desire to become financially free on his own terms. And here he is, after years of running a successful entertainment agency, helping his family grow, and sell a multi-million-dollar toy company, and now he helps all types of passion-driven entrepreneurs, such as coaches, speakers, authors, and CEOs at all stages of their business's development. He helps them scale their visibility and impact to create sustainable and profitable businesses. I have a similar allergy.
Yes, a lot of people do.
Yes, so welcome and thank you for being here. So now I want to know something about you that we wouldn't read on your bio or your website. We want the juicy stuff. So
Sure. Here's a little juicy tidbit. Way back when we were running our entertainment agency, the main act that we were promoting was my act.
Okay.
And it was called Imagine If with Jamie and the Imaginites.
Ah, cool.
And till this day, I've maintained that mantle of Imaginologist because I believe that everybody's imagination is the place where we have to mine our own unique revelations, epiphanies, and unique perspectives. And from that, we can then become the publishers of our own cone. And that's where our uniqueness lies.
Love it. So what kind of things were you doing when you were in that act? What kinds of performing?
Oh, it was a combination of mime, life-size body puppets. I had a couple of characters called the Balloonatic and the Platypus,
Okay.
and Pinwheel Brain. And I was influenced by a Swiss mime group called Mummenschanz, which did about 1,000 shows on Broadway. So these sculptural abstract puppets, I just love them. So we did a lot of work like that, incorporated them into the show. And then Allie, my wife, who was a tremendous singer-songwriter, wrote all the music for the show.
Beautiful.
So it was a combination of a bunch of different mediums.
Love it. I love it. And obviously creativity is a thread that runs throughout your life and your wife's life. You have lots of really cool phrases and ways of thinking about things. So tell me a little bit about what new thought engineering means. What is that about?
Well, it's, you kind of mesh them up together. It's origineering is one term, and the other term is new thought pioneering. So the first step that we do when we work with people to extract those pop-out themes, which turn into their intellectual property online brand mission, we work with a question, air it out, as I call it. It's the big reveal, where we have people answer very pointed, cathartic, promoting questions. And then we go into that whole document and we start to do a thing I call origineering, where we're in there looking for things that really pop out. So I have the client go in there, and after they answer all the questions, you have a whole different, fresh perspective when you come back on them, and they highlight in yellow, and then I go in there and see all the gems, and I highlight in red. But I'm always working from back off the shelf because I want to know how it's going to land in the marketplace.
Love it. So tell me a little bit about, let's pull up to the big picture. A lot of what you stand for is supporting people and coming up with their unique take on things. And a
Mhm.
lot of times what stops entrepreneurs is they feel like they don't have anything unique or original to say. And so they go, well, it's first of all, it's easy because I can do it and therefore it must not be valuable, but also it's just not all that unique. Other people are doing the same thing. So what do you say to people who are getting stopped by that?
Well, we've all experienced being at a place when we're birthing something new and we look at all the influencers in our space and we say, how can we be as good as those people? We even go as far as to maybe copy what they're doing. And my belief is that we can all be different and still exist in the same niche.
Mm.
Because we have to give ourselves permission to have a creative process and do the investigation into our own revelations, epiphanies, and unique perspectives. And we have to become alertly vigilant when we're open to receive these things and then begin to document and archive them. So it's not only having an idea and then letting it float away, you have to take it and archive it. You collect your beginning, middles, and ends without worrying about the how.
Mm.
Because when you start thinking about how this is all going to happen and how it's all going to become to reality, you tend to sabotage the idea. So I tell people, don't have your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time because you're not going to go anywhere. Have your creative process, then you worry about the critical work later.
Hmm. I love that. And yeah, a lot of people do edit as they go, and therefore we limit and restrict ourselves and don't give ourselves real permission to be fully creative and be
Thank you.
creators.
Thank you.
And so
Yes.
I love that stand for that. And so, what got you going in all of this work in the first place? In a moment, you'll tell us a bit about your system and your way of thinking
Mhm.
about how to produce content. Why does this matter to you?
I was sitting in a practical spirituality class right after we sold our toy company. And I heard the director talk about how we all individualize the one. And it just hit me very profoundly. And I started thinking about how uniquely individual we all are, that how we all have these incredible one of a kind designs. That's our birthright. And I said, how could all these billions of people running around the planet be so individuated? And then when you start to see people not really reaching their full potential or realizing those little idiosyncrasies that make them unique, I said, I would like to be a witness for these people and help them produce their uniqueification. And that's how it all started. And I didn't even know what to call it at that point because, I was a marketing guy and a business development guy, creative guy. And so some people started saying, that's really personal branding and that's really marketing and it's this and that. And it promoted me into developing my own methodology that I combined a couple of different exercises and turned it into a business ecosystem where people could actually have this creative process, get their ideas, get into the critical portion of it, organize their ideas in a signature transformational blueprint, and then get visible on video and become the inspirational face of their business so they could promote all their ideas, all their offers, and earn a living that they're really worth.
Mm, love it. So it's really supporting people in my line that I use it with people, and the tagline for the company is be the difference that only you can be in the world, because each of us has our unique take on things and our unique experience and skill set and combination that only we have. So
I love it. I love that.
and one of the things I really appreciate, Jamie, is that you have the spectrum covered, meaning that sometimes people need help with creativity and pulling out and eliciting that and permission to be creative and wild and unfettered and so forth. And then a structure for taking that and turning that into content, into a process, a customer journey, a business model, and then a process for how you monetize that. So it's a lot like the work I do of the inner game of business and the outer game of business and bringing them together to create that spectrum that people need all of. And it's challenging to find that. So tell us a bit about how you codified that. Whoops, I forgot to give you permission to share. Hang on just a second.
Okay.
There you go. And I know you got a couple of slides. So tell us how you brought those components together into a structure.
Okay, let me just share the screen here. Okay, I have to. Okay, I think this will help everybody get it'll give me an opportunity to share something that's very concrete that everybody can take away from the meeting and begin some implementation on their own and apply it to what they're doing right now. I'm going to start up here and put it in play mode here. After we do our creative process and extrapolation of their ideas, their revelations, these unique perspectives, and we have them all categorized and harvest, we begin to then do the codification, the organization into our signature software. We call it the Signature Transformation Blueprint. And what you're looking at right now is just the output. It's just the chart that we populate in the back end. Okay, and this is where we zero in on that online brand mission that serves as the hub, the trunk of the tree for your signature transformational blueprint. And that turns into your online brand mission. If you notice, just like a tree, all the branches are connected. Then you build the framework for the signature transformational blueprint with 4 relevant problems you solve for your market. This is very important because I call this our reason for being. You need to understand what problems that you're solving in your market so you can come up with the proper solutions, which is pillar 3. We create the pillars that support that framework with 4 solutions that solve each of the 4 problems. So as you can see, this becomes a pretty comprehensive instructional design, though it is only a blueprint at this stage. Now, I'll just give people a quick understanding on how this populates by showing them mine. So my first stage is, who are you really? Then, as I explained, this is the second stage is capturing your genius. Third stage is the signature program, which you're seeing right now. And the fourth stage is the multiple streams of income, where we start putting together people's offers. And we have soundbite descriptions for each one of the major topic things, the problems that you solve, and the exceptional result. My exceptional result, my hub of the tree, my online brand mission is Jamie Greenberg's Capitalize on Your Uniqueness. And then we do the same thing for the solutions. We start documenting our solutions, which are all in a process-dependent way, and they all have soundbite descriptions, and that solves stage 1. So here you have step-by-step process that solves your first stage. And we do the same thing for stage 2, 3, and 4. And as you can see, it's a pretty comprehensive instructional design that now we can now begin the repurposing. So let's, everyone, just imagine for a second, this is your signature program, okay? From this, we can begin to turn it into your offers, your high-end coaching, your online courses, your group coaching, your VIP days, your consulting, even retreats. You can then take this solution-focused content, and you can see it's plated and ready to be adapted for your seminar or keynote organizer. And of course, you can use these knowledge topics, just convert them into a slide presentation from your webinar or your seminar. And I say, look what else is staring you right in the face. 21 chapters for your book or ebook, 21 episodes to start your podcast, and 21 topics to springboard your Facebook Live broadcast, which we're on right now. And And now, not only can you repurpose your signature system into programs, products, and presentations, you can also use it as the foundation for all your content marketing. So you're all familiar with the lead magnet, your free online giveaway. Well, you can just take the 4 solutions and that solve your first problem and turn that into a lead magnet. And you can create your whole social selling, social media content by using the 20 modules that are right here in your signature transformation blueprint. Now, let's just do a quick review. Okay, we have our online brand mission with the 4 problems we solve and the 4 solutions that solve each of the 4 problems. Okay, the first step, as we said, we're going to create our revenue generating programs, products, like your high-end coaching, your online courses, your group coaching, your essential lead generators to create sales, your seminars and keynotes, webinars, and book publishing, and your get visible video content creation and marketing. Batch bank and schedule your social media calendar, your Facebook live streaming, and your podcasting. All of this happens when we put together your signature transformational blueprint. And what the result of it, it keeps your brand clear, constant, and consistent, because everything, all the content is going straight to your online brand mission, which builds a ton of equity in your online brand. And these are just some of my clients that we've taken through the whole process that are having really nice success right now. And I say, here's the good news. Today, I'm offering a complimentary business development assessment session for anybody on this call today. And I would love to get on a call with you and dive deeper into your own specific problems of what you want to achieve, what's holding you back, and what's in your way, and see if we can come up with some solutions.
Love it.
And that's it.
And I love that it's really a process that you've worked out and a system for capturing content. And I hope you guys really hear the really smart way to repurpose, reuse, because a lot of times people get really overwhelmed with social media and too many things to do, and how do I come up with all of this? And it's come up with it once, do the work. It's not simple, but it can be easy, or it might not be easy, but it is simple to create those first 4 pillars. I call them pillars. Mm-hmm. And then fill those in, and then extrapolate that out and repurpose. And part of it is that then becomes your methodology that you get known for, your stick in the sand. Sorry. So I love that's a very smart way of approaching it.
You know, just to add one thing, I know many people who come into the space of coaching or consulting, or even trying to, scale their coaching, consulting, speaking businesses. There are so many moving parts in this business that what we tried to cover was how to take something from concept to distribution. That's the only thing. And because when you get one part done, then you have to move to another part, or somebody else. So we try to put everything into one ecosystem. So if they work with us for a while in our different programs, they can get everything done and then get into business.
One of the things that you said when we were on a previous call that I thought was quite brilliant was you mentioned that Sting doesn't listen to the radio for 3 months before he goes into the studio to record an album, because he wants to come to his work from something, a place of his own, not something derivative and so forth. And so one of the things that I know a lot of people in our industry and moving into the expertpreneur world, and especially in this online world, especially with COVID, have been doing tons of courses and programs and listening to everybody's this and that and this and that. What advice do you have for people on how to find their North Star, their voice, their truth?
I think it's very important from the get-go that when you establish and start getting an inkling to what your calling is, what your purpose is, where the inspiration is coming from. What we do is we try to find these micro little instructional designs where you're just building step by step on how to create a win for someone, as simple as that. And then take that out and test it. Create a few posts. We do a thing called the 7-day content drip, okay, where we create very short memes and videos. And we post them 7 days in a row, and we start getting feedback on our ideas. So I don't like people spending a whole lot of time in development without testing and getting feedback along the way, because you never know what works. So you don't want to, you want to have an indication that you're getting a response from an audience. That's the only way that you're going to know that you're solving a problem.
Yes. Yes. So valuable, so important, because you want to know that people are picking up what you're laying down. Because
Thank you.
otherwise, if they're not interested, if they're not responding, you find a different way to express it. You find a different market. You find a different topic
Yeah,
as an
yeah.
access point. There are ways to continue to do what you're doing, but if that's not working, don't finish it all and put it out. Go test it first. I love that. And that's a great suggestion, everybody. Do micro videos, just 2 or 3 minutes on a topic or a question and answer it, and or
Mhm.
something in your Facebook group or in LinkedIn or wherever your platform is, and see what people engage with you. See what the responses are. Test, test, test. And it's also a great way to get yourself out there and to attract prospects.
Yeah,
So,
you want the words to start coming out of your mouth.
yeah.
And we know how critical, how important it is to be on video today. In our process, in getting visible on video, we want people to start lifting the weight, even if it's 15 seconds a day. Pull out your phone and just do 15 seconds a day of conversational things, something that takes your breath away, something that really pisses you off, something that how you would imagine you'd like it to be. So you just get used to being on camera and getting used to the medium that we need to use today.
So, just on that topic, and by the way, Michelle says, thanks for sharing this very valuable information.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Michelle. I'm glad to see you here again. What I would love you to, because there's a lot of people who say that sounds simple, just a brief video, but I hate being on video, or I'm scared, or
Mhm.
I'm nervous, or I don't know, I don't look good, or whatever. So, whatever the story may be, what are some tips you
Okay.
have for getting over that?
Whenever we're birthing something new, there's always a little trepidation. Think, everybody, just think about when a seed is planted in the ground. Where does it go first? It goes down to create a foundation before it can support anything that it wants to grow. And miraculously, it finds the right architecture organically to support what's going down. So it's the same thing with video. That's why I have people do these short videos. I don't do any more than 15 seconds. I say, just pull out your phone for 15 seconds a day and remove all the judgment. How you look, how you sound. I'm not interested in the grammar. I'm not interested in the continuity. I'm not interested in in the performance. I'm just interested in you doing it, because everybody, what happens when you do things over and over again, even if you even work with a coach? Video is the perfect self-correcting medium where you could start making those modifications and adjustments. So you do it for a while, you get used to seeing yourself on camera, you can self-correct, and if you want to get there a little quicker, you know, you can hire a coach, or you hire somebody who can actually be a director in this way. And this is what we do here. I use my performing experience, my directing experience, and we get people in a very safe place where they can entertain things that they really feel passionate about, that they want to express. And when you work from that emotionally charged place, you'll be completely surprised on how it lands on camera and will land on your audience. And that's how we separate here. So do not be afraid to dive into this medium.
Love it. And folks, I know you can walk into a room, a networking room, or the supermarket and have a conversation with someone. And yet, when someone puts a phone in your face, you go, bah! The same thing. You're just having a conversation with someone. So get over it, knock it off. It's just you showing up and chatting with someone. All good marketing is a one to one conversation,
Yeah.
and you just happen to do it out in public where people see it all over the place. So, all good marketing is a conversation. It's not a puke on them, it's engaging in a conversation. So, just do that like you would in line at Safeway or, Whole Foods or whatever, and get out there, get passionate about what you're really excited about and be willing to talk about that. That's it. You don't have to have it perfect. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to have all the solutions. You don't even have to have everything in place. And that's one of the reasons why I really love your approach, Jamie, is start small, get practical, and
Hmm.
create
Hmm.
a seed. One of the things that you advocated was write a 150-word post about just what the solution is or what the problem is that your client has. Just 150 words. And then out of that, take 3 bullet points that you can create. And then do little videos on that. Let's start there. Start small and expand. I love that approach and I love the accessibility of it,
Yeah.
Jamie. It's really smart.
And Janet, it's important to show up for yourself.
Yeah.
One of the main habits that we have to develop as entrepreneurs is being our own boss, and we have to show up to do that work. So just put little small time capsules on things that you do. The reason 150 words is 2 or 3 paragraphs. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the what you wrote, you take 3 bullets and you speak to the bullets. I don't want you to memorize anything. And I don't care about the continuity. I don't care about the grammar. I just want you to hook onto the premise
Mm-hmm.
and work from that inspirational place, because there are plenty we have a whole social selling, a more formal structure called Verbalation into a Lesson, where we show you how to structure this into a proper selling post with a call to action and a place for you to put your call link where you can start engaging customers.
Mm-hmm.
But initially, like you said, you start small, but
Yeah.
show up. Do it every day like you're lifting a weight.
Love it. All right, everybody. If you would like more support and information on these topics, you can go and get Jamie's ebook, 4 Steps to Stand Out, so your high ticket clients can find you, your path to an extra 11K a month. So you can go and download that for free. And in the chat, there's a link to book a one-to-one session with Jamie to talk about your business development, where you're at in that process of figuring out what your unique model or your unique voice is, what you're offering and the problem you want to solve. Then a structure for turning that into content, into an ongoing source of content, education, and services, products and services. And then how do we get that out in the world? It sounds easy, and it's not. It is actually a lot of work to do
Mhm.
all of those processes. So I really encourage you to get support, whether it's a coach like Jamie or me, whomever it is. Don't continue to spin in trying to wrap your head
Yes.
around being all of these things. Most people are either creatives or they're very left brain and logical, sequential, organized. Very few can do both, nor should you have to. So bring in support and resources to shore you up on the side of either trusting your intuition and your creative voice and who you are and who you're here to be and the difference you're here to make, and or to support you on getting that into a process and a system that you can get out and make a difference and be the difference that you're here to be. So
Mhm.
you go ahead and book a call with Jamie. If you've got questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll check back and answer them. And most importantly, really start small and get into action now.
Mhm.
Brief videos, brief posts, whatever it is, and start to have that conversation and see where it goes.
Start to imaginate.
Start to imaginate. So, what's the final word you'd like to leave people with, Jamie?
Oh, just be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, be true to yourself. Really understand that what's coming from your intuition needs to be expressed and not suppressed,
Mm.
because that's where our dis-ease comes from, when we're not in full expression of who we are. So we're only here on the planet for a certain amount of times, a certain amount of moments. So let's experience it in the full potential that we are. And we have to take a risk. This takes a risk. But I encourage everybody to the full expression of their originality. That's what I would say.
Beautiful. What a lovely note to leave on. It's time to be bodacious, ladies and gentlemen, and to be that full expression of who you are. Be the difference that you're here to be.
Mhm.
Thank you for being here, Jamie. Thank you for being a real true stand and support for that in the world. I love your approach to things and how you do it. I know many people say, but you do that. Why do you bring people on who do the same stuff you do? There's a lot of different approaches to doing a lot of the same work. You're going to resonate with different people. I want you to get going. And if it's not with me, then it better be with him or with someone else that you resonate with. But the point is, let's get you out there, get you seen, heard, and in action. This is 2020 together. It's time to get together with other people and make a difference. Thanks for being here. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful,
Janet.
wonderful day, everybody. And a bodacious 2020 together. Bye.
Bye, everybody.